All right, welcome back, True Seeker. It's a little after 4 West Coast time. Thursday night football will kick off in about an hour from now, maybe a little bit more than an hour. And one of the big storylines is Mike McCarthy, the coach of the Cowboys, who are playing at the New Orleans Saints tonight with Taysom Hill making his start. One of the stories is Mike McCarthy's out with COVID-19. And one of the other storylines tonight, along with that, is that Amari Cooper, who wears the number 19, has not been feeling well this week. He's kind of feeling down. He's kind of feeling like, it's either COVID or the cold, depending on what the test you get at the doctor says, right? Can't really tell the difference, but the doctor will tell you it's either the cold or COVID. Just like last year, they said flu cases were down 95%, while COVID cases were way up. And of course, in 1968, coronavirus was coined as a strain of the flu. They had to lock down the nation because a few people died in nursing homes from COVID. Don't you guys remember how it all happened? Anyway, if you don't, I'll take you back down memory lane because I got a really great example coming up here. So Amari Cooper wears number 19. He's sick. Mike McCarthy, he had just turned 58 years old. On November 10th, the news about him getting COVID-19 was November 29th, which was 19 days after his birthday. So 19 days after Mike McCarthy's brother, or not, I thought of his brother because his brother died by the numbers years ago, which we covered. I believe he died at age 47, if I'm not mistaken. Like the 47 degrees on the Masonic compass around the capital G, like the first Super Bowl season in the 47th season of the NFL. He's 58 right now. R.I.P. to Dennis Green, who died at 58 last year. Former Steeler. Pittsburgh equals 58. Freemasonry 58. Cowboys chasing the Steelers in Super Bowls. Mike McCarthy, 58 years old. And again, 19 days after his 58th birthday. Him and number 19 are not feeling well. He's got COVID-19, you see. And the thing is, this comes before the Saints game. And with regards to Gematria, if you're new here, it's based on the alphabetic order and the alphabetic order with the rules numerology. There's two teams in the NFL that equal 19, and that's the Saints in Seattle. And they both also equal 82 like COVID. And if you remember, March of 2020, I was showing you how on the 19th of March in 2020, at the start of COVID, right after the World Health Organization declared a pandemic, right after the NBA lockdown by the numbers over the Rudy Gobert thing, if you remember all these stories. But Sean Payton, while he was 56 years old, he tested positive for COVID on the 19th of March, exactly 82 days after his birthday. And I was saying, look at that. Saints is 82-19. And what I wrote and what we discussed is Seattle also equals 19 and 82. And the first confirmed case of coronavirus in the world outside of mainland China was in Seattle. And, what I pointed out that day is watch out for March 22nd. We've been saying for a long time leading up to that, we said there's probably going to be all sorts of lockdowns on March 22nd because of the way they're rolling out these rituals. And there was, from New York City and beyond. Lockdown on the 82nd day of the year, 322. Big number with Skull and Bones and the Johns Hopkins that has a lot to do with this. But, every year Johns Hopkins needs your money to research cancer. They like to show you the videos of all the children dying from cancer more and more. The more and more money they raise, seemingly the more and more children die from cancer, and the more and more money gets raised. These companies that so many people are hoodwinked by. But the thing is, I was talking about the same thing, right? 19 and 82. 19 and 82 with the Saints, with COVID, with the ritual, with Peyton. And now look. Now Mike McCarthy in a huge 19 ritual is out with COVID and against what team? The Saints, right? There's 32 teams in the NFL. Only 2 have a chance of having the 19 value. Seattle and Saints. 2 out of 32 is 1 out of 16, which is about 6.25% of the league. That's a lot smaller number, which means it's improbable. And again, despite these things being improbable, this is the way they roll out day after day in the world of scripted news and entertainment. And, when you're awake, you see what they're doing. They're putting on a show that really does have everybody hoodwinked. Because if I explain to somebody that on the street, just some normal folk on the street, that these guys are having rituals with COVID and sitting out NFL games when they're paid millions a year to coach these teams, people say, there's no way they'd do that. Somebody would spill the beans on that. There's no way they could do that. That would get out if they did that. It's just like, how do you know it would get out? And then they think, somebody would put it would get big ratings. It's like, this person hasn't thought it through all the way. They don't see what a big show it is. Are we sure it would get bigger ratings? Or could it possibly fuck up something that's working for a big scam that gives us the bread and circus that keeps us all sitting on our asses while fascism rules over us? Do you think they want to put a hiccup in a system where they know for the majority of the year, people will be packed into stadiums and cities paying all this money to the owners of these teams, this small club of men who own several teams in several leagues? All the money that's generated by the city. It's now $70 to park in Seattle in the stadium parking. $70. I mean, that's crazy. $70 to park at the stadium. I mean, I thought it was expensive when I was a kid because we were broke, and I was like, God, who can afford $20 to park at the stadium? I mean, it was like that back in the 90s when I was growing up, but damn, now it's $70. Oh. Anyway. You guys, this is a club. It's that George Carlin joke. These guys are putting on the show. Because all the things that everyone's just like, that could never happen, it's happening. And it's happening right in front of your face, and we're educating about it day after day. 6 years ago, I was saying, have 2020 circled, because you'll see how it'll be 19 years after 9/11, and the 19 hijackers, where the oldest of which was born on September 1st, the date that can be written 1/9. In 1968, the same year 911 was made the national emergency dialing code, the same year World Trade Center construction began, the same year George W. Bush graduated from Skull and Bones. McCarthy did a huge Skull and Bones ritual. We covered that earlier this year. I put that out. But, you guys, this stuff is a club, and this is how they maintain the illusion that everyone's just believing in so much. The world of screens and celebrities and sports teams, all the things that people think are the most legit in the world. Like they didn't learn from the WWE when at first they were trying to, cover their ass and say they weren't rigged. But then what's sad is when people realized it was all a big rig show, the ratings got even bigger. Sometimes I wonder if that'll eventually happen with the NFL. Oh, who cares if it's fake? I still like watching it. It's easier to sit on my ass than think about anything. But man, I mean, this stuff, you guys, is just such a joke. 19 days after his birthday, him and number 19 not feeling well versus, one of 219 teams out of 32, which is a really small group. And again, think about how Seattle fits in. Seattle's where the COVID pandemic began, you could argue. The first case in the world outside of mainland China in Bill Gates' backyard. The super couple that split up this year in Seattle on 8/2, August 2nd. Could go on all day about it. Do you guys just see the Merck pills they put out yesterday on the 82-day numerology? Or 2 days ago? With the big 82 on them for COVID? Merck. What's that word mean? Go back and listen to what Bill Gates said in 2010 at his TED Talk. But, and here, if you don't know what I'm talking about with the Merck pills with the 82 on them, here, let me zoom in so it's much more clear. It looks like there's an hourglass on there, and on all the pills, there's an 82. And they've been showing you this image for several weeks now. We've been talking about it the whole time. But again, just one more 82 ritual with COVID. The first coach in the NFL gets COVID on the 19th, 82 days after his birthday at age 56. If you remember, that news story came the day after Gavin Newsom, whose name equals 56, like coronavirus, like COVID vaccine, like Society of Jesus, how all these guys are Jesuits. Anthony Fauci, 56. Donald Trump's Jesuit education began in 64, 56 years before 2020. But all these 56s, and Gavin Newsom says 56% of California will get coronavirus in 8 weeks, which is 56 days. And again, there's been a million more of those. But that's also how old Sean Payton was when he did his 82-19 ritual. And keep in mind, Loyola equals 82, who died in 1556, the founder of the Jesuits. By the way, the other big story with the Merck 82 pills on the 82 date numerology. Again, these pills with 82 on them were approved by the FDA on an 82 date numerology. COVID's 82. This is the same stuff that we've been teaching for 8 years straight. Date numerology and gematria. How if you look at this, you'll see how the sports and the news, it's all scripted together. It's all putting on the big Roman circus. Nothing's changed. Even the architecture's still the same in D.C. But this is the Roman circus, and this is how they do it each day, by the same knowledge of that time. That was the that was the knowledge of all knowledge back then, Kabbalah. This is where all this letters and number stuff comes from. People think because they don't learn about it in slave school, that means it doesn't mean anything. I know that's how people think, because that's exactly how my sister is, who's 12 years older than me. That's her argument. If this was important, they would have taught it to us. Why does she think that? Because she believes so much in the system, because she likes the system. You know, she married into a rich family. She's traveled all over the world. She doesn't want to think about that maybe the system's evil and corrupt and wrong. She just wants to continue to enjoy the system, you know. And that mentality is why her children are now growing up in a world where they don't even have sovereignty over their own bodies. But my sister, she's so in the matrix, she doesn't even think about things like that, you know. But by the way, on the day of the 82 Merck ritual, we also had the big shooting at Oxford, which happened to be on what would have been Winston Churchill's birthday, a man who didn't think his citizens should have guns. It would make society less safe. He liked guns himself, but he just didn't think the people should have them. He had guns for himself, but he didn't think the people he ruled over should have them. That was on Winston Churchill's birthday. Of course, the oldest university in the world is Oxford in the UK. It would have been his 147th birthday, a number I've taught about a gazillion times in regards to big shootings. Actually, I have a book and a chapter on it that it came out 4 years ago. And the name of the shooter, Eric Crumbly, 147. And then they spelled the name Madison like no pole dancer ever would, with the last name Baldwin as one of the victims right after the Alec Baldwin ritual, who on the same day as the shooting comes out and says now he didn't pull the trigger in the movie set shooting, paying tribute to Bruce Lee and Brandon Lee. Again, Baldwin's shooting was 201 days after his birthday. Bruce Lee died on the 201st day of the year while filming Game of Death, where in the movie, his character is Billy Lowe, who's just like who Bruce Lee is, a martial artist who's in Hollywood, who does action scenes. And in one of the scenes, somebody loads a real bullet in the gun because they don't like him and they want to kill him. And then he gets shot, and he ends up faking his death. Well, that happened to his son Brandon Lee on The Crow, and then Brandon Lee was buried April 3rd, 93, which was Alec Baldwin's birthday. He turned 35 that day. Eric equals 35, which is Brandon Lee's character's name in The Crow. But then all these years later, Alec Baldwin shoots somebody 201 days after his birthday, when again Bruce Lee died on the 201st day of the year, July 20th, 73. And then Brandon Lee gets buried on the 93rd day of 93, Alec Baldwin's birthday. And then from the anniversary of Bruce Lee to Baldwin shooting, July 20th to October 21st, that's 93 days later. So 201 and 93. If you write out order of Illuminati, it equals 20193. Again, that was founded by the Jesuit Adam Weishaupt. Adam Weishaupt died 201 days after the anniversary of the Illuminati's establishment, Order of Illuminati. Again, 201, just like the Jesuit order, he was a Jesuit. And right now we're in the time of the first Jesuit Pope, who's the first to live in Suite 201 at the Vatican, Jorge Mario Bergoglio, who equals 201. 3 years ago, I was talking about the death of Penny Marshall from Laverne and Shirley on the Pope's birthday. Today, I'm talking about the death of another actor from Laverne and Shirley 201 days after his birthday. Again, you guys, who's pulling the strings on all this is the Jesuit cabal, whose calendar we're on, the Catholic Gregorian calendar. All roads lead to Rome. And again, the English language, the oldest known script, goes back to the monk Burfirth from the year 1011 AD. And there's a lot of information out there on the origins of English, and, you know, it changed all throughout history. But the oldest known script in the history books that we have today say Catholic monk Burfirth, 1011 AD. The point is, Catholic Church, English language in their possession for 1,000 years. All this in the 16th century. Again, you guys, to understand who's doing the bread and circus, who's doing this to us, mocking us with the news, the rigged sports games, sucking up all the mind, power, and energy of society, is the same Jesuit cabal that wants to control us all. George Orwell's 1984 wasn't an arbitrary year. It's not an arbitrary year that Anthony Fauci, the Jesuit, became the head of NIH in 1984. Or that the federal government made diplomatic relations with the Vatican in 84. Again, the Catholic Church is 84, the Jesuit Order is 84, United States of America 84. But again, the Jesuits pulling the strings on all of this, and people got to wake up to it, man, because, it's just like for Thanksgiving, I was around an intelligent family that's around the same age as me, but they're not taking care of themselves. They're making a good income, but they're way overweight, and they're all vaccinated. And they're not bad people, but it's just like they're in the matrix. There's just way too many people like this, man, and it's just... People have to see what is going on and stop denying it. This stuff is improbable every single day. It's just in your face all week. Again, all week, they're telling you number 19 doesn't feel well. Mike McCarthy's out with COVID-19. And how long are they going to call it COVID-19 for? We're at the end of 2021. They're still calling it COVID-19. That's why I said 19 years after 9/11, 2020 was the year it was going to get bad, because chaos equals 19. That's the whole motto. Jesuits and Masons, order out of chaos. 19-year cycles of the moon. But yeah, then you learn the Gematria and you say, this is why they did it with the Saints, and this is just like when they did it with Sean Payton, 82 days after his birthday, on the 19th day of his age. This is why the whole riddle starts in Seattle in Bill Gates' backyard. By the way, go back and listen to Bill Gates' speech, Innovating to Zero, because he talks about how we need to reduce population and the ways we can do it, and one of them should really stand out to you in light of what he's supposedly about. And you'll notice his speech, Innovating to Zero, where he talks about why we need to reduce population, and we can do it if we, kind of act like we're mosquitoes, if you know what I mean. Can only say so much on this platform that censors for everything, but Innovating to Zero, 82. Go figure. And the whole COVID thing starts there in his city. The guy who 10 years... It's so fucked up, you guys. I mean, people, if you're going to be in the bread and circus, here's my thing. If you're going to live in the bread and circus world, at least try to find programming that enlightens you. Like, watch the Amazon series Utopia. If you're going to waste your time with entertainment, watch something that'll make you go, wait a minute, what the fuck? In Utopia, which Amazon remade in 2020, a plot about billionaires faking a pandemic so they can vaccinate and sterilize the population because they want to reduce population by 95%. In the movie, the name of the billionaire's plan to sterilize the fucking world is called Janus. If you look up what Janus is, it translates to gates. And Janus is what the month of January is named after. And Bill Gates declared a decade of vaccines in January. Then 10 years later, almost to the day, COVID shows up in Seattle. And now look, the push to vaccinate the world, right? More people getting vaccinated for a virus than ever in the history of humanity. And there's a lot more to say on it, but all of this stuff is the scam and how the illusion is orchestrated. And it's just so obvious. And it's like these people are laughing all the way to the bank. You guys want to know what to invest in? It might be funeral homes, casket companies. Might be the biggest stock in the next decade. Because people were too busy watching football games. Okay. So here's what else I want to say. Just with regards to educating about how the games are rigged and how often we can so often see the outcomes before they happen, there's 4 base ciphers, but the one you want to know the most is that dark blue one. And in that dark blue cipher, Thursday equals 35. And some nights on Thursday Night Football, there's a 35 riddle. And whoever has the 35 wins the game. or loses it. Sometimes it's a losing riddle. You don't want to hit the 35 if it's a losing riddle. You want it if it's the winning riddle. But it's how you can see who the winner and loser is on Thursday. And some weeks the 35 is not there and the 46 is played, which is the value of Thursday in reverse. But if these two numbers were up against each other, if one was on one side and one was on the other, that 35 is going to hit. The 35 kills on Thursday. And the thing is, they do other 135 related rituals, and it's just interesting to witness them, but they're iffier to call the game on. And here, I'm going to go to this website, numberempire.com, so you can see this. I'm going to type in the number 149, and that is the 35th prime number. 149 is the 35th prime. And again, Thursday's 35. Now, a big 149 you saw earlier this season was Russell Wilson. He had the longest active streak of consecutive games as a starting quarterback, and it was at 149 when it ended on Thursday Night Football. And people would say, well, how do you script that? He busted his hand on Aaron Donald's arm. It's a good question, but I mean, Aaron Donald's a massive guy. If your job as the quarterback is to throw your hand way too hard into his massive arm, I mean, that is a possible mission. And these guys are paid a lot of money, and guys do this kind of stuff in the WWE. They hurt themselves to get those millions of dollars, to get that fame. And if you did watch that game where Russell Wilson hurt his hand, before the game, they had Russell Wilson telling about how, someday he'll be telling his grandchildren about the fiercest competitor he ever had to face on the field in his NFL career and how that's Aaron Donald. And remember, you guys, I mean, Aaron Donald, if you look it up, his birthday is May 23rd. Here, I'll show you this. Aaron Donald birthday. I remember it was like yesterday because we called the Super Bowl dead on over this. A man made over $300,000. He didn't need to make that much. He's already rich, a dentist with multiple practices, but he won over $300,000 from what we explained before Super Bowl 53 season began. Aaron Donald is born May 23rd, like 523. That's the 99th prime number. He had a 99-day holdout. That was the 99th NFL season. And he wears the number 99. And his name, Aaron Donald, if you just use the alphabetic order. A is 1 up to Z is 26. Aaron Donald, Aaron's 49, Donald's 50. Aaron Donald equals 99. Number 99. 99-day holdout before the 99th season. Born on 5/23, the 99th prime. And with regards to 5/23, the Patriots were coming into that season with 523 franchise wins, the 99th prime. And they have the name Gematria connection to 99. And that was also Super Bowl 53, where Patriots and Los Angeles both equal 53. The only other team in the NFL that equals 53 is Carolina, and they weren't part of the equation that year. Patriots, Los Angeles, 53, another riddle with the Rams. 53 is the 16th prime. There were 16 points scored in that Super Bowl. But the thing is, these guys, they are like born and bred to be in this league. Some of these guys, I don't know if every single player in the league is, but there's like certain pillars of the league. Aaron Donald, Russell Wilson, big names, big rituals. And yeah, Russell Wilson might really be jamming his hand into Aaron Donald's arm because that's exactly what he's told to do, and that's what he's going to continue to do if he wants to continue to be the starter of the Seattle Seahawks and make millions of dollars per year, Because I did see how he busted up his hand, but I mean, it is within the realm of possibility. The point is the streak ended at 149, the 35th prime, and I'm telling you about that number because so often when you watch Thursday Night Football, they'll put up a stat when somebody's at 149 yards, and you'll just grin. They do it a lot. You're like, I see why we get the yardage marker at 149 tonight on Thursday. But tonight, Mike McCarthy, who's out with COVID, what they've made tricky in the time of COVID with sports is now like, watch, Mike McCarthy might get credited for the win or loss tonight because we've noticed that coaches have been credited for games they've missed in all of professional sports in the time of COVID. But the thing that's funny is Mike McCarthy comes in with 148 wins tonight as an NFL coach. He might, if the Cowboys win tonight, we might look and his stats will be updated to 149. And here, I'll show you how you can see these things. I'll also show you Sean Payton right now. This is Sean Payton, the coach of the Saints tonight, the first coach to get COVID. He's on 148 regular season wins. He's also on 87 losses, which is interesting because Cowboys is 87. But he could potentially get his 149th regular season win tonight, whereas Mike McCarthy And this is why some games are a lot harder to call than others. The last game on Thursday Night Football that was a free money, when there's a 35 on the board, we call it free money Thursday. The last 35 that was on the board was a few weeks back now. It was Aaron Rodgers picking up his 35th, I believe it was road win. I have to go back and see what it was, but the Packers and Rodgers definitely had the big 35 that night, and he's playing in State Farm Arena while he's doing the State Farm commercials. And then remember, he had his whole COVID episode by the numbers. He just had some major rituals by the numbers this season, Aaron Rodgers. A lot of 201s. But anyway, Mike McCarthy, here's his stats right here. He's on 138 regular season wins, 91 losses, and 2 ties. Those are his regular season stats. But this column over here with the 18, he's been in 18 playoff games. He has 10 wins in the playoffs, 8 losses. So if you take his 138 regular season wins and his 10 postseason wins, he's at 148 all-time wins. 148, which means his next win is 149. So McCarthy can get his 149th all-time win as an NFL coach, or Peyton can pick up his 149th regular season win. This is why some games it's like, I don't know, man. You're definitely gambling tonight because you got a decent riddle on both sides. Whereas some games, it's just a straight shot. And again, the thing about this knowledge is it's not a perfect science, but it's very helpful. For this NFL season, we murdered every week. Some weeks, even a lot more murder than others, but just killed for this whole NFL season until the last 2 weeks. And sometimes I wonder if it's me or just like, sometimes like, what is going on? The last 2 weeks, I've been like 50-50, which is super disappointing. And we had a good week in college football this past week. 2 weeks ago, though, was just the worst football weekend because I did well with college football the whole year, but then I had a really mediocre college week and a really mediocre NFL week. It was like 50-50 for like the whole weekend. And we'd been killing. So, I mean, it just felt like a nightmare. But, yeah, 2 weeks in a row of mediocrity. And part of what was wrong with last week is I got on the wrong side of the Michael Strahan riddle. And I learned I'll talk about the Michael Strahan thing if you missed what I already said. But again, both coaches coming in with a chance at the 149th win. And see, if I knew that what they were doing was they were not counting stats, but the thing is they have been giving these coaches credited stats even though they missed the game for COVID. So I'm just like, and it seems like, and sometimes they haven't. Like, it hasn't been consistent. So this is iffy to me. If I knew for sure that they weren't going to count McCarthy's stats, I'd think, well, maybe that's the sign then that Peyton's getting 149 tonight because McCarthy doesn't have a shot at 149. He's not in the game. And the thing is, because of the way they're doing this, it's like a sketchy rating system for when they're crediting wins and losses. You can't have confidence in it, so you got to be smart about it. And the other thing that should be said about this whole thing with Dallas being the center of this COVID ritual is, again, out of the 4 ciphers, like I said, Thursday's 35 in that most peer. Dallas is 13 in that most peer. So many 13 rituals in Dallas. And again, it's week 13. First game of week 13. Dallas coming in a little bit COVID-y. You know, Dallas is also 41 the 13th prime. And those numbers show up in the TNF scores. TNF's got the 41 and 13, what they call Thursday Night Football. And one of the storylines tonight in the game is Taysom Hill is making his 5th career start. He comes in 3-1. If Hill's a storyline, if like McCarthy missing is a problem for Dallas, if that's some kind of narrative they're trying to build, it could be, you know, a special night for Taysom Hill. But tonight's an iffy game because the way the 2 149s can hit. You're looking for the best Thursday riddle on Thursday. And, you know, like last week, for example, you see how Raiders is 74? So is Dallas Cowboys. And we thought out of the possible upsets, the 2 on the board for Thursday were either the Raiders to upset the Cowboys or the Saints to upset the Bills. We thought it looked a lot better for the Raiders because both teams equal 74. Plus, it's a holiday. Holiday's 74. And remember, George Washington is 74. And George Washington celebrated the first Thanksgiving, and then 74 years later to the day, also on a November 26th, Lincoln made it an official holiday. And again, Holiday is 74. And the most pure cipher, Independence Day is 74, like this nation's birthday is 7-4. And so that number's always associated. And that's what happened. The Bills became 7-4. The Cowboys fell to 7-4. Buffalo Bill is what the Bills are named after, a cowboy, which is interesting to think about. And, of course, the Bears became 4-7 for the latest 47 ritual at Ford Field. Remember, Henry Ford, who it's named after, died on April 7th, 4-7 in the year 47. Big number with the gang. Number of authority. It's a number of time. That's why the 47th NFL season was the first Super Bowl season. It's also weird that Beast is 47 and Number of the Beast is 66, and that season began in 66, and then the first Super Bowl was in 67 and Satanic 67, and they use these numbers ritualistically all the time, sadly. Like a great example is the FDA fully authorizing the COVID vaccine 66 days before Bill Gates' 66th birthday, or a span of 67. And they just do a lot of satanic little riddles when you know this code with that creep. And again, I mean, his dad was Planned Parenthood. He's Mr. Population Control with his curious methods. Again, listen to his TED Talk, Innovating to Zero. But yeah, it's just sometimes riddles are crystal clear, and sometimes they're a little bit foggy. And the one thing that I could get better at when it comes to decoding sports is like when the game is foggy, I have to figure out how to find that clarity if it's actually there. Like when two 149s are up against each other. But you'll notice week after week, you pay attention to the numbers, the teams, you just see the stats they put on the screen and you just grin and laugh. I mean, that's what everybody who's in this community who's been here for years and been winning with this knowledge does. You know, that's why there's a community of people that just stay here because they've been winning the whole time. Plus, they like having like-minded people to learn from. But still, I mean, again, this is something that essentially I brought to the public world in, 2013-14, and it's been growing since then. But there's still so much more room for improvement and growth and understanding. I mean, that's what all things are if they're sincere and legitimate. I mean, isn't that what we think about sports? They're always evolving. But yeah, I mean, to deny and say that all this stuff's a coincidence, that just shows you're a bird brain, to put it nicely. Doesn't mean you're a Larry Bird fan either. Bird brain would think that. He's like, I am a bird brain, man. I love Larry Bird. How do you know that? By the way, when the whole COVID-19 thing was breaking out, remember how they told us on TV the toilet paper was going to sell out? And everybody went and bought the toilet paper. Like the most popular topic on social media was the toilet paper fights breaking out. Oh my God. People fighting over toilet paper. You remember this, right? United States of Amnesia. I bet you remember. Come on, you remember, right? Anyway, look at the gematria mind control and toilet paper. If you're new here, again, 4 base ciphers. Alphabetic order, forwards and backwards with the rules of numerology. Look how mind control and toilet paper go together. And again, it's got that 56 in it, like coronavirus, like COVID vaccine, like Sean Payton 56. When he got it 82 days, they had to mention Payton 56 right after Gavin Newsom. This is like the day after. 56% of you are going to have coronavirus in 8 weeks, which is 56 days, and my name equals 56 because I'm Jesuit educated, and Society of Jesus equals 56. But yeah, I mean, just boom. Same stuff over and over. Here, let me see. Let me see something real quick. I got to check something out. Oh, yeah. So another thing that's a pain about this, like, I'll tell you what, if Mike McCarthy was coaching this game and I knew his stats were going to count, I would probably lean more in his direction for this one reason. And for anyone out there from Gonzaga, if I still got any of the Gonzaga crowd following, when I first went to the Gonzaga campus, it was September 27th, 2020. And Sunday Night Football was Aaron Rodgers at the New Orleans Saints, and it was a big hyped-up game, Breeze versus Rodgers. And I forget who the favorite was. It was a close spread, whoever the favorite was. It was probably the Saints at home. And we liked Aaron Rodgers, though, a lot because he was going for his 126th win. His 126th win. And when you write out New Orleans, which is the alphabetic order, it's 126. You see on the most pure cipher, it's 45. Last week, the Bills coach got his 45th win over the Saints. That was also part of the reason the Raiders looked like they were more likely to upset the Cowboys than the Saints upsetting the Bills, which the Saints did not and the Raiders did. By the way, Thanksgiving 66, and home teams became 6-6 on Thanksgiving for that Thursday night football game. By the Saints losing, home teams became 6-6 on Thanksgiving. First NFL Super Bowl season in 66. 66 is the 11th triangular number. You know, I was telling you that thing about Beast? Again, it was the 47th season, the year 66. Beast is 47-11. 66 is the 11th triangular number, right? And number of the Beast is 66. You know? That you always see those celebrities doing the one-eye pose and the satanic shit, like Lil Nas X. DMX dead on Lil Nas X's birthday. Weird stuff going on in show business. DMX said, I sold my soul and the price was cheap. Notice how I has the Gematria 35. The football is the shape of the eye, right? They say that a lot of people will claim that all-seeing eye symbolism stuff is satanic. I is 35. Satan is 35. The Satanic Church's symbol, Baphomet, is 35. There's that term for evil in the industry, Svengali, which is 35. Has a lot to do with ritual sacrifice and stuff. But, and remember the first score of the first ever Super Bowl. The Packers won it with 35 points. And there are other ciphers besides the base ciphers. And I didn't create any of this. You know, I just figured out what it is and showed how it was useful. If you read my book in 2017, I showed how in septenary, which is a related cipher, it's 35 in Chaldean, where football's 35, and then Super Bowl in septenary is 35. They're related ciphers. Like, if you're studying gematria, it'd be good to study them with those ciphers together. And, you know, like, here's an interesting thing. You guys know Washington, D.C. is the land of 47 from my work, right? The land of the Masons, 47 degrees on the compass. Again, the capital G, the Packers with the big G, like the Masonic G. Again, Mike McCarthy's brother at 47. But in septenary and Chaldean, which again are these related ciphers, they're both 47. And again, if you're new here, remember, the letters D.C. with the reverse alphabetic order are 47. If you write out president, it's 47. If you write out White House, it's 47. If you write out government, it's 47. If you write out authority, it's 47. If you write out Republican, it's 47. They came out of the Whig Party, 47, and Democrats, 47. You know, not arbitrary. The cornerstone for D.C. was laid on a 47-date numerology by George Washington, a Mason, September 18th, 1793. And again, a lot of the founders studied out of the Scottish Rite in France. That's who does the compass at 47 degrees. France is 47. You just had the death of that Virgil Abloh in a huge 47 ritual. Off-white 47, dead on 11/28, the 47th triangular number. But again, connected to Louis Vuitton in France. But all these number patterns are not arbitrary. There's a reason they keep doing the same stuff over and over. They are paying tribute to, and again, remember, all of this is Kabbalah, but there's an evil half of Kabbalah where you're essentially, you know, whatever you want to describe as evil, Satan or whatever word you want to use for it. I mean, that's essentially what this is all about, but they've coded it all out in the English language using biblical knowledge. You know, the 16th century happens, the Jesuits, the Protestant Reformation, people leave Europe to flee what's going on over there. They come over here. The same forces over there, you think they just let those people go across the ocean? You don't think they had better boats than the people who crossed the ocean? They didn't just let them go. They said, come back over here. You're not free. We'll just put down your history book that you are, and you'll pay a lot of taxes to us. You'll be our slaves. Notice how free is 74. You think we really got free from London on 7/4? London 74? Of course not. But yeah, just being aware of the knowledge, you can just laugh at how well structured the league is. Why you're reading about the headlines you are on the day you are. You won't be able to call every last game, but you'll be able to see like, damn, there's a lot of value in this, and this has 35, and this is Thursday. I got to go with that, just like was the case with Aaron Rodgers in Arizona. He was nearly a touchdown underdog. Think about how rare that happens in an Aaron Rodgers game where he's nearly a touchdown underdog. It's about as much value as you'll ever get in an Aaron Rodgers game. And, of course, he's got the 35 on Thursday, playing for those Packers who won the first Super Bowl at 35. And in State Farm, while you're watching the game and then it going to commercial with him in State Farm and you can't see the mockery. These guys are acting in the commercial, but you don't think they can act on the field, huh? Again, I've been asking my whole life, why are actors and athletes paid the same salary and the same ridiculous amount of money? And again, they're the thing that holds everyone's attention all the time. Because that's what the powers that be need from these little puppets of theirs. They need you to keep their attention. They need to keep your mind occupied. Otherwise, you might realize you're getting fucked. You know. So here, we got about 20 minutes until game time. Maybe 30. And again, I'm not crazy about who's winning tonight's game. There's some games I feel good about this weekend, but I don't feel good about tonight's game. But maybe somebody out there has a brilliant observation. And, yeah. Anyway, let's go out to... let's go out to the phone line. So it is that number on the screen. And again, in the last 2 weeks, I've been rusty in the NFL, but consider this is going to be week 13. We did very well the whole season up until week 11 and week 12 gave me trouble. And normally I feel like we kill in week 11. There's been some perplexing games the last couple weeks. I got to say that much, man. 469?
Yeah, what's good, Zach? It's Neil. How you doing?
Hey, what's up, Neil?
Hey, real quick, did you know that Amari Cooper, he actually tested positive himself on November 19th, on the 19th day of the month, and he wears the number 19?
So okay. And then McCarthy tests positive 19 days after his birthday, while all week Amari's not feeling well, and then against the Saints of all teams.
Exactly. Yeah, and a few more things that I want to point out is, November 19th is the day leaving 42 days left in the year, and Amari's first name, Amari, 42 in the most simple cipher. Not only that, the news comes 155 days after his birthday, coronavirus 155.
I got to figure out what's going on, because that guy played high school football in this town, too, which kind of creeps me out a little bit, because it's not too far from Seattle. So...
Oh, okay.
He's a big hero here in this town. Everyone's a big Amari Cooper fan because apparently he played. I don't know if he was here for all of his high school, but this town feels like Amari Cooper. This is his town, so.
Okay, I see. But yeah, that is interesting. So now, 19 days after McCarthy's birthday, now he tested positive, and Amari Cooper, like I said, on the 19th day of the month. So it's too perfect. But with tonight's game, one thing I don't know if you caught, but. Today is exactly 18 weeks after Prescott's birthday, and he could give the Cowboys their 18th win versus the Saints all time. I don't know if you have that in your notes.
Oh, okay. That's a good catch. That's interesting. That's a good catch.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
But, yeah, man, that was pretty much it, Zach. Thanks for letting me in, man.
All right. Appreciate it, Neil. Take care.
Okay, peace. All right.
Okay, that could be another clue. Hold on. Yeah, here it is right here. I'm telling you about 47. Mike McCarthy's brother, Joe McCarthy, 47, died in Pittsburgh, their hometown. Again, remember, Pittsburgh equals 58. He's 58 years old. Right now, Cowboys are one Super Bowl behind the Steelers, 5-6. You're a Super Bowl 56. See where they're going with this, because, again, WrestleMania's in Dallas. Originally, it was 56 days from the Super Bowl, but then they moved the Super Bowl by a week, so now it's 49 days, and Super Bowl and Dallas and NFL all equal 49. But yeah, I mean it's sick how they do this. Oh, I even mentioned how the Packers defeated the Steelers in Super Bowl 45 since he's from Pittsburgh and coaching the Packers, and his brother dropped dead in a gym, which is 45. The word ritual is also 45. So I sometimes get like this stuff's from a long time ago. I posted this January 16, 2017. Again, that's the value of being here every single day. That's how I can back up my point every day, because I just proved it yesterday. So, of course, I'm going to prove it tomorrow. We've been doing that for 8 years straight. Let's see. Caller?
What's up, Zach?
Oh, hold on. I just noticed that the Packers and Steelers, when they met in the Super Bowl, there was 56 points scored in that game. That's hilarious because Society of Jesus is 56. Game was in the Cowboys Stadium. Okay. That was the date the Super Bowl was going to be on this year before they moved it to 213. And Green Bay beats the Steelers with 31. Steelers is 31 in the most pure. But again, the Steelers are ran by the Jesuit family, the Rooney family. Society of Jesus is 56. And Lombardi is Jesuit educated at Fordham. He died at Jesuit Georgetown. But 56 points in that Packers-Steelers Super Bowl. And again, McCarthy's 58 and Dennis Green died at 58 last year. But what's up, caller? Tell me.
I'm calling you from another number. I usually call you on my 702 number. But I'm just basically going to say what I said in the beginning of the year. Going into game one with that 102 with the Buccaneers and the Cowboys, I had you look ahead to the Saints and Cowboys game, and I told you that they could pick up the 38, the 18, and the 35. And when you write down 18, it equals 35 in reverse.
Oh, so okay, I see that number has a. I've never used a 35 like that, but I'm gonna pay. That's the first time I ever heard that one, so I'm gonna pay attention to that. Interesting.
Yeah, you write 18, it equals 35 in reverse. So I had said that to you, and I'll give you all my observations for week one when we're looking ahead to the Thanksgiving game and then their away game against the Saints.
Okay, yeah, I do recall you saying that now. Yeah, that was a great observation looking ahead.
Yeah. I'm food shopping right now. I just wanted to get that off. I don't got my other phone, so.
All right, appreciate it, man. Thank you.
No problem.
Take care. 610.
Yes.
Hello.
Hello. How are you?
Yeah, what's going on?
Did I dial the wrong number?
What are you trying to call? Are you trying to call into the YouTube show?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is it.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, buddy.
You're probably watching the video. It's like 30 seconds behind. You got to mute that and just talk to me.
Okay, I just did that. Thank you. Two questions. I heard number 19. I'm thinking Amari Cooper and the Saints for DFS DraftKings as being potential big scorers based on what I've heard today. I'm wondering if you had any other numbers associated with players or anything else.
I'm sorry. I've done a really lazy job for my normal Thursday because I'm trying to finish my book by this weekend. So, once I'm done with the book, I'll be less scatterbrained. But, yeah. But, again, so, I mean, that is a thought with all the 19 going on. We'll see what they do.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's cool. That's fun. I already got my lineups in anyway. I just wanted to ask just in case. Negative 48. There's this QAnon dude. He thinks he's JFK. He's not JFK Jr., but he sounds exactly like JFK Jr. with all of the phraseology, the way he speaks. I studied the voice of JFK Jr., watched all his interviews, and it was like an excellent job of pretending to be JFK Jr. But he's negative 48. He's like, you can go on BitChute. You probably don't even know about him. He deals with some of the other QAnoners who I am not a believer in, right? I don't believe in the 107 or any of these other nutcases, but this JFK Jr. negative 48 guy sounds really close. And so I was just wondering what your opinions were because he's totally into Gematria. All this podcast, it's all he's doing is talking Gematria.
Well, I'll check that out, but just to get back on topic, but I will check it out. I don't know anything about it. I don't follow any of that stuff, but I appreciate it, man. Thank you. 646. 646. You're on.
Hello?
Yeah, you're on.
Oh, okay. Hey, all right. One quick thing I wanted to say was on May 2nd, 2022 is when Neptune enters Pisces and Neptune rules Pisces.
Okay.
And May 2nd is the 122nd day of the year.
Right, yeah.
Which is connected with the Jesuits and everything.
Isus Hominum Salvator, 122. Pope Francis, 122.
Yes. Today is the Saints are playing Cowboys. Today is 151 days before May 2nd.
Okay.
Yes. I don't know if that makes sense, but...
Well, where are you going with it? What are you trying to say about today being 151 days? Just because it's the 36th prime and 666 is 36 triangular number and just like the satanic Jesuit connection?
Okay, well, for example, it's the astrology connection that I'm trying to put you on.
Okay.
That yesterday, check it out. Yesterday, we had two college basketball games between Louisville and Michigan State, and then we had North Carolina playing Michigan on December 1st. December 1st was the same day that Neptune went from retrograde motion to direct motion. And in Gematria, Michigan equals 152. It was 152 days before Neptune enters Pisces on May 2nd. And if you write out North Carolina University, it equals 121, which was the date December 1st, the connection to Neptune. And both North Carolina and Michigan State won yesterday.
Okay, so but why are we connecting what's going on right now with what's going to happen in Pisces?
Because, okay, check it out. Neptune rules Pisces. Neptune is named after Poseidon, the god Poseidon. Poseidon is named after Aquaman, which is Jason Momoa and the movie Aquaman.
Okay.
Okay.
So that's why we're using it for the sports games in the recent days?
Yes, yes. Astrology is directly connected with sports.
Well, I don't doubt that. Like when I understand little bits about astrology, but I don't understand the connection you're making right now.
Okay, tonight's Cowboys game, the 151 days before Neptune, before May 2nd. It's Thursday night football, right? Thursday night football in Gematria equals 95.
Okay.
Neptune in Gematria equals 95. Okay? So there's a direct connection with tonight's game and Neptune entering Pisces.
So every Thursday night football game then would be connected to Neptune, you're saying?
Yes, it would.
Okay, I've never thought of that. I mean, it's interesting.
That it's 151 days, and Dallas Cowboys in Gematria equals 151.
Okay, today's 151 days to the start of Pisces, and Dallas Cowboys is 151 is what you're saying.
Yes.
Okay, that's very interesting. See, that maybe they are doing something like that. That'd be mind-blowing. So, interesting. Okay, I'm going to pay attention to that. So next week will be 144 days. So I'll look.
Okay.
Very interesting.
Yeah, that's all I wanted to put you on.
Okay. Thanks, man.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. If they're doing something like that, man, that would even blow my mind even more. It'd be like, wow, they're really linking it up that way too? But sometimes people are like, just because one thing has this number and another thing has this number doesn't necessarily mean those two things are related. How can you tell that, 19 and 82 are related to COVID? Because they keep doing this to us like every day if you're paying attention. It's just like, how do people not see it yet, man? Doing the same stuff over and over. 619?
Hey, Zach, what's going on, man?
Yeah, what's up?
Hey, just to chime in on what you were saying earlier about you having a tough week 11 and a week 12.
Uh-huh.
Man, they know how good you are, bro. I honestly believe they're double coding these games. You know what I'm saying? Especially last year.
Well, here. You know what? Let me just chime in. It could be, or it could be that sometimes, okay, so I was on the wrong side of both New York games last week, and the reason why I felt good about the side I was on too. The reason why is because when somebody's retiring a home jersey, that team loses like over 90% of the time. I don't know what it is, but it's very high. In the 8 years I've been doing this, the Giants winning this week was the second time that I've noticed, and there's been a ton where it's been a loss, but only the second time I ever noticed a win for the home team while retiring one of their players' jerseys. But then I thought about it, I was like, well, they did Strahan's jersey. he's really big. I mean, he's a big guy on one of the daily, major network shows. In that same week they retired his jersey, Jeff Bezos announced he's sending him to space. So I was like, maybe it's because he's bigger than these other guys, so he does not get the loss. And it is rare to get a win in this situation. But then when I realized how big the ritual was, I was like, oh yeah, I just talked about how he's from Houston, the space town, because Houston equals 112 like Blue Origin. He's going up in a Blue Origin rocket to Jeff Bezos, whose birthday's on 112, January 12th. But then I was like, look at that. The jets, like aircraft, like how NASA started with jets, the jets are in Houston, Michael Strahan's hometown, winning. Wow. And see, it was a killer because the way the numbers lined up for that game, it seemed like the numbers were there for the Houston to win on both sides. It looked like a pretty decent riddle. But then when these both get inside, I was like, God, this is all about Strahan. The Jets are in his hometown when he's going to space, winning. And then New York's getting to 3-3 at home on the day, leaving 33 days left in the year when New York and Michael are 33. But I just couldn't go against what they normally do with the team losing. But then Strahan, so it's just that kind of stuff's happened the last 2 weeks. It's been like, damn, man, these riddles are deeper than normal.
Yeah, but wait, I'm much more deeper because when you put the notes up and I go through the notes and you write, outcomes for both teams, you know what I mean? Hey, pay attention to this team might win because of this. These games are double coded because they know that.
That's why you got to pick out. That's why you got to pick out the games though that just feel like straight shots. Like the Bengals last week killed the Steelers, and they felt like a straight shot because we know how big 54 is with Joe Burrow in this season, the 54 season for the Bengals. And again, he just blows through the Steelers and becoming 5-4 at home as a starter. So I mean, it's still coded the way, but it's like some of these games, man. It's like, okay, if there's a red flag there, you got to be careful with it. So.
Yeah, and I've been noticing it over the past years because I've been following your work forever. So each sports game that you decode, or even just coding stuff in the news, it's just like, man, Zach is just on point, man. And honestly, it's like, okay, these games don't matter till they get towards the end of the season when they know who's going to really be in the Super Bowl. So it's like, okay, we don't care about this team winning, so we're going to double code this game to wherever the money is. It's like with fantasy football. I used to play FanDuel and DraftKings. Learning your work, the first 3 years I was playing, I was just losing. And then learning Gematria and learning how to decode each player and to know if they have a good game off of just putting on their birthdays. I didn't play this year because I was like, I don't have time. But last year, it was like I could not figure out how to decode players last year. I don't know if because it was a leap year or I was just like, man, so this year I didn't play at all. I said, let me just chill out. I can't even decode players anymore because they're doing something different. Like you said, Mike McCarthy can get either the 149 or is it going to count or is it not going to count if he not plays? So it's like they're double coding this stuff, man. Crazy, man. So that's all I had.
All right, well, I appreciate it. Yeah, COVID's added a whole new layer to decoding sports because all these weird things that come up. So yeah, if you're a sports gambler, you realize how COVID's made it even more difficult. It's better for the casinos. They're holding all the cards.
I noticed that last year. I was like, man, it being a leap year, and I can't see how people don't realize how this shit is fake, even through sports. Oh, this player's out because he tested positive for COVID-19, or this coach is. These people are going along with this shit, and it's like, what in the? You guys are not believe. You know what I mean? Like all these stars.
Trust me, man. I just had a migraine today walking home because I went up to the hair salon to get my hair cut, and then they're saying that they're not going to cut my hair unless I put a mask on. I don't put a mask on anywhere because I shouldn't have to. I've been healthy the whole time. Why do I need to put a mask on? So I was just explaining to them. I was like, can you tell me why I need to put a mask on as a healthy person? They're like, well, because of COVID. And I said, what is COVID? And they're like, come on, we know. And I said, well, I've been healthy the whole time. I haven't been wearing a mask. And I said, honestly, the times I have put on a mask, it started making my throat feel dry right away. I don't like doing that. That's when I feel unhealthy wearing this damn mask.
Yeah. So I tell people I don't mean to be mean, but I do. I really pray for you people's demise, man. I mean, I really do. These sports people, because again, I work for Amazon, and these people are they're so brainwashed. There's people even going to ask for the flu shot right now. One lady was like, oh, I need to know because Amazon's giving out free flu shots. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking? Oh my God, lady, please get away from me. I was like, I can't do it, man. Sorry to get off on a tangent. It's not sports radio, but Oh, these people are it just drive me insane, man.
I know, man. We're all going through these stories. That's why it sucks to be awake and awake, because it's just like, man, these people are unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
Mm-hmm. Well, I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
All right, no problem.
All right, take care. So, and again, we had Neo the hacker call in and point out that Amari Cooper just tested positive for COVID-19 on the 19th. I mean, come on, man. And then 19 days after his birthday, before the 19 team, who had the first coach to test positive for COVID 82 days after his own birthday. I mean, come on, man. I don't know what's wrong with people. It's like you show this to people who are supposed to be smart people, and they'll be like, I'm not sure if it's a coincidence. Like, come on, man. Every day, this is not a coincidence. 571.
Hey, how's it going, Zach?
What's up?
Okay, so I have been connecting dots from the Michigan game you did, correct? So I'm starting to connect a little bit of dots. So from the college football playoff to the Super Bowl, there's going to be some type of Michigan connection. So what have been connecting is with.
All right, before you start telling me about this, have you seen my work on what's going on in Michigan right now with the college football season?
Yes, sir.
You know about the shooting in the Michigan Wolverines win the weekend before?
Yes.
Here, just so people don't know this, if you watch my live stream of the Michigan school decoding, I did part of it in real time, but I was teaching about Michigan equaling 152. It's their 152nd season. We thought this would be a great year for the Michigan schools. They did great. And, you know, they win the big Ohio State game. And then the very next, or like, what was it, 2 days later, maybe 3 days later, whatever it was, just days later, you got the big school shooting in Michigan, and the attorney general for the state's coming out saying that there's going to be gun reform because of this, and she's going to take care of it. It's exactly 152 weeks after she just became the attorney general, and where'd she go to school? She was a Michigan Wolverine, and it's the governor's 100th day of her age, and she's getting in on this, and Michigan Wolverines in Gematria is 100. All of these people are chosen actors from the sports field to the political field, and it's just we're just watching out for this. This school shooting is as scripted as your Thursday night football game, and if anyone thinks that's wrong, I'll tell you what, I'll prove that you're wrong all day. But go ahead, man. What's up?
Yeah, so because I'm just doing because I've been following your work for a little bit, so I'm just doing a little bit more of the futures prediction. So with the Michigan, because Tom Brady, he was from Michigan. And then you got John Harbaugh. He graduated from
both Harbaugh brothers. Both Harbaugh brothers who met in Super Bowl 47, the Blackout Bowl, for 34 minutes when black equals 34 in a black city, New Orleans, NOLA, which equals 42. Other numbers stand on black history. But both of them beat Ohio teams this weekend, the Cleveland Browns and Ohio State. And Ohio's the birthplace of football. Just more mockery.
Yeah, so I'm starting. I'm looking at it like, man, this can't be another coincidence. So because if you look at it, it's a possibility you have a Harbaugh in the college football player and a Harbaugh in the Super Bowl, and then you got Tom Brady, who's a Michigan alumni, going to the Super Bowl. So I'm just looking at all these Michigan dots. So I'm like, okay, let me look at these whole Michigan connection right now, because I've started seeing these dots connecting, how you pointing out already.
Yeah, that is a great thought to watch how they work together. But just keep in mind, it wouldn't necessarily mean that they would all go together. One might be the trade-off for the other. It's like, look how well Brady's done in years where Harbaugh didn't do well. So,
correct.
Yeah, and we've documented rituals with Jim Harbaugh and Tom Brady a number of times. So I mean, that is a relationship. Yeah, very good thought.
Yeah, I'm just keep from the work you just doing and stuff. I'm just like, okay, you open up a little bit more doors now. So okay, I'm gonna start connecting. Like, I'm trying to get one correct so far, but you'll be a little bit ahead of the game on that part.
Yeah, you'll get better with time. Practice makes perfect. All right, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, so I'm trying to at least get something done at least. But thanks for the good work you're doing.
All right, yeah. Take care, man. See you.
Oh, no problem.
But yeah, again, some games are a lot easier to call than others. So I think a lot of people are going to be tuning in the game. We can leave it there. Again, just want people to realize how scripted the news is, how scripted the sports games are, what a mockery it is, and why you don't hear about it. Again, it's controlled, the information we get through the screens. These are people that are born into the club, getting paid a lot of money to be in the club, wouldn't want to give up the money, so they stay in the club by keeping their mouths sealed. I mean, And again, the other thing is at the beginning of this year, we were showing the Tampa Bay Buccaneer and Benny Cunningham, the former Brown, both speaking out saying the NFL was rigged. Nobody even seemed to care. You had two NFL players speaking out at once, right before Brady won the rigged Super Bowl. 919?
Zach,
Yeah, what's up?
been a minute. I need to tell you about the Tar Heels and Wolfpack game that you got wrong.
Oh, that was the biggest heartbreaker for college football. If we would have had that, it would have been the best weekend ever. But yeah, I liked UNC to upset North Carolina State, and they were up 30-20 with like 2 minutes left in the game, and they damn lost. How do you lose when you're up 10 with that kind of time?
Well, if you look, I don't know if you noticed this, but the Tar Heels going into that game was 3-4 in the conference. It was 35 days left in the year, so they lost and dropped to 3-5.
Yeah, those things do happen, but I mean, again, the North Carolina coach had a great riddle. It was 91 days after his birthday, could have got the 91st win, week 13, 91 13th triangular. I thought I was there it is, boom. But then,
Zach, the Tar Heels coach, if you look at your notes, the Tar Heels coach was on 132 losses. If you type in University of North Carolina, it equals 133.
It doesn't mean you have to pick it up that day, though. I mean, you could pick that up next season. So
Yeah, but Zach, if you type in...
But again, my man, you call it. I know you're interesting and you make good points, but it's like every week I do the same thing. I use the numbers that go with the week. 91 is the 13th triangular. 133 has nothing to do with 13. Whatever other number you just said doesn't have anything to do with any 13. I mean, I'm consistent with what I do each week. We hit the majority of them. That was a crazy ending, though, man. They said 26 touchdowns and two touchdowns in 26 seconds on the 26th. But yeah, I was like, you got to be kidding me. You know, we used the same method for the 10.5-point underdog who won for us the next day. And again, that's just sticking with the 13s. That's why you play that method. You're going to hit the vast majority of games and come out ahead. And what was it? It was the San Antonio game where the 41s and 13s lined up for the 10.5-point underdog. You got to go that way in week 13. And there were other numbers on the other side, but I'm going with the 13 numbers in week 13. So I'm going to continue to play it that way as long as it's a winning way. You can't say, but Zach, this at 35, 133, that's not week 13. So
Zach, I'm only trying to point out the fact that University of North Carolina is 133, and if you type out the day that they played that game, which was Friday, November 26th is 133.
That stuff is interesting, but I mean, that's just not as consistent to me as the weeks. And it's just like, you know, I used your method for 2 games in the NFL and it went 0-2 for me. So, I mean, I can't just rest my hat on that. I do appreciate it, man, though. Keep up the great observations. Have a good night, man. 865.
Hey, Zach, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. What's up?
That North Carolina game, weren't they a 6-point underdog that game?
They were a 6.5-point underdog. Yeah, they had good value. They covered the spread.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So you really won. You didn't really lose.
Well, if you took them with the points, yeah, my bet did win. If you took them with the points, I mean, a lot of people do play it that way. But if you're trying to get the big payout, because like what I said is, I said a good $5 bet is the Raiders on Thanksgiving in that UNC game, because then you'll make upwards of 50 just on a little parlay like that, since they're both solid dogs. And you know, it looked like it was almost there, but then it collapsed in the last minute. I was like, what in the world, man? Come on. So
you make more money when you don't take the points?
Well, okay, so if you don't know how gambling works, like if you take UNC to cover the spread and you bet $100, you win 70. So you would have bet 100 and you would have won 70. That's what you get if you take the points. You get 70% of your bet. You follow?
Yeah.
If you take the points, you know, what did they pay? They paid like $220. So, I mean, you'd win 3 times as much money. But the thing is, had you taken the points, you would have won. If you didn't take the points, you lost your money altogether. So, I mean, you take the points, you're going to win a much higher percentage of your points, but you got to do the math. It's like, well, do I end up making more money if I take the riskier bet and hit on these? And again, when you use the parlay method, I mean, that's how most people have made it in this community. Small bets that pay huge. You only have to hit 20% of them using this knowledge. It's just the payout ratio is so big that as long as you hit 20%, you're staying way ahead. So.
Oh, I got you. I see what you're saying. So it's better to take the dog and don't take the points if you get more money, right?
But sometimes if you're just trying to look for a winner to that night and just playing it easy, I mean, sometimes it's like, okay, there's not a lot of games tonight, but I feel good about this team. The points looks good here, and I mean, you hit that bet, and maybe at the end of the night you're like, damn, I should just take them to win because I would have won way more. But hey, you still won. It's not all sour grapes, so. I mean, you just got to play it. You got to play it by ear. Some weeks there's just a board just full of delicious riddles, and we just milk it that weekend. And then some weeks it's like, there's a lot of close games, but this game, and this game look pretty good. And maybe they're not the best payouts of the week, but hey, if you can see where the danger is and even make a modest win, again, that's better than giving your money back. And again, that's what I always preach to people: low investment, big payout, and when it looks like the riddle's there for the week, that's when you really got to strike. And in other weeks, just play more conservative. So.
Oh, okay. All right. I was just wondering. Thanks. I appreciate it.
All right. Take care.
All right. Bye-bye.
See ya. LeBron COVID. Hold on. What's LeBron COVID? Did somehow I miss a LeBron COVID story? LeBron COVID. He's been out for COVID-19. I saw what they did with the Indiana and Detroit thing. It's like, he gets suspended with a first suspension versus Detroit, known for the bad boys. That was the old thing back in the 80s, early 90s, the bad boys of Detroit. And then LeBron's a bad boy getting his first suspension. I mean, this stuff really does treat you like you're retarded. Omicron from the Black Continent on Black Friday. I mean, it's just like, they treat us like we're in kindergarten. What my mom used to always say to me, like this is how I always think of the same thing because it bothered me when my mom would always make the same thing because she said it so many times it stuck in my head. And then by the time I was old enough and I got the joke, I was like, why was she always saying that? But when I was a little kid, my mom would always go, just when she was drinking, she'd always go, do you know what a Jimmy hat is? And then like laugh so hard. And I'd be like, what the fuck is she talking about, a Jimmy hat? But, just like jokes that she knows that a little kid's not going to get. That's what this world elite does to us every day. And, yeah, I guess I missed the LeBron COVID thing. So I guess I'll save it for next time. Hold on. We'll take one more call and then we'll call it a night. New Jersey?
What's up, Zach?
Oh, hold on. Before you, I get the whole joke now. It's LeBron's 19th season. It began earlier than normal on October 19th. He played the Cavs 19 I think it was 19 weeks, or maybe it was 19 days into the season, or 19 weeks after his birthday. Some stupid ritual with him playing the Cavs. And then he picked up a 67 in that, the 19th prime. But they've already been doing all this 19 shit with LeBron this year, and now he's got COVID-19. I'll have to go see what day he got it. Anyway, go ahead. What's up, man?
So I thought that there hasn't been a Super Bowl in Los Angeles in 49 years.
Okay, that's interesting. Just like, okay, that 49 again. NFL, Super Bowl 49, America 49, WrestleMania 49 days later, Dallas 49. Interesting.
Yeah, and also Dak Prescott had a bad injury against the Giants last year, and from that date to the Super Bowl is 490 days. So I don't know. It looks like it could be Dallas, but
say that last thing again. What was that last piece?
Dak Prescott had a bad injury against the Giants last year.
That was 490 days before the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
Wow. That's interesting. That's definitely interesting. Okay.
Yeah, so I thought those 249 stats are pretty crazy. So
all right.
I'll let you know that.
Yeah, appreciate that.
Yeah.
See you, man.
Thank you.
I like this detail right here, how they write this up, the LA Times. Let me make it big so you can read it too. I like it. It's just like, I just started looking at it. It's funny already. LeBron James, who missed the Lakers game in Sacramento against the Kings, who LeBron played his first career game against the Sacramento Kings. I think he played for 42 minutes. I could go back and double check that. Might have been 23. But his first career game was against the Kings. King James, like they called him since before he got here, back when they were showing his games in high school. Growing up, you never saw ESPN ever cover a high school basketball player like that. A couple years before LeBron, they did a show on, what was it, Tyson Chandler and Eddie Curry. It was kind of like the first time they followed around high school players, but then they went crazy with LeBron. And But okay, the Sacramento Kings, coronavirus, corona means crown. I mean, come on, man. Did he miss any other games besides the Kings? I don't know how, I didn't, nobody was like, hey, Zach, LeBron's got COVID. Somebody might have said that. Somehow I missed it. So today, LeBron is cleared of COVID. When did he test positive? LeBron James test positive for COVID. When did this happen? This is yesterday's news? So yesterday he's out indefinitely and then today he's cleared? What? LeBron James out indefinitely under NBA's COVID protocols. Lakers star who says he is fully vaccinated may be out at least 10 days until the league's pandemic rules. But then today he's cleared? So they just want to make the headline about this. Oh my God, LeBron could be missing because of COVID. Fucking A, get my vaccine. You guys, you know what kills me is this shit works. You know, I'm sad to say that sweet lady, she decided to go into the pharmaceutical route, but she's doing an internship in a pharmacy, and she said this week she can't believe how many people are pouring in for the vaccine. It's just been crazy this week because of Omicron. 312?
Yeah, what's going on, Zach? I wanted to bring up, I see you talking about LeBron. Did you notice how ESPN changed they changed the Warriors? ESPN was originally airing the Clippers and the Lakers tomorrow, but then they changed it to the Warriors-Suns game with LeBron now, and then this news came out. I just saw that while you were talking about it. I thought that was kind of something fishy about that. Why would they do that? And now he's coming back to play tomorrow anyway.
They were going to switch the games around, but now they're not?
No. They did switch the game around. When I read the article about them switching the game around, they were saying with Kawhi and LeBron being out, they were switching over to Golden State.
The two LA stars. Oh, are they both out with COVID, the two LA stars at the same time?
No, Kawhi's out with an ACL, I believe.
Okay.
But I just thought that was interesting that they changed it over to Phoenix, Golden State tomorrow instead of the LA showdown on ESPN now.
Okay. Huh. Yeah, great observations. I got to look into more all of this. I appreciate it.
All right.
All right, thanks. Okay, so I can't, how many stories are there about this? Seems like this goes back to yesterday. Something fishy's going on, and LeBron James seems intent on getting to the bottom of it. The star Los Angeles Laker has been sidelined due to the NBA's COVID-19 health protocols and took to Twitter Wednesday. Something is real fish emoji going on. Wouldn't it be something if all this time LeBron did not realize the rituals that are going on around him? Here's the thing about it being his 19th season. You see how when you run the alphabetic order in reverse, King is 67? That's the 19th prime. Again, this NBA season began October 19th. And here, let me go back. I documented it. Let me see what it was. LeBron 19. Where's that? Oh my God. I hate the way the search works on here. Come on, man. LeBron just had this big ritual with the Cavs. Okay, here we go. This is the post I want. Okay. So LeBron, he came into this game. Where's the 19 part? Let me see. Okay, the NBA season began on October 19th. It's LeBron's 19th season, and this game is exactly 19 weeks from the real King James' June 19th birthday. That's what it was. Now, remember, LeBron played for the Cavaliers, and the Cavaliers are named after King Charles, who was the son of King James. So there's this historical connection with Cavaliers and King James and King Charles. But what we pointed out is the Lakers could pick up their 67th win that night, which is the 19th prime, like King 67. And LeBron could become 16-1 versus the Cavs, which he did go on to do. He came in 15-1. Los Angeles is 161. And he could become 9-0 versus the Cavaliers at home, and Cavaliers is 90. So I was just like, look at how perfect that ritual is. And ask yourself, why did they start this NBA season so early? On the 19th? It's always the end of October. But it's for LeBron's 19th season because the whole fucking league scripted around him like we've been proving for 8 straight years. That's why, like, people who are still on the fence, it's like, are these people retarded, man? God, these people just, like, want to stay in the Matrix is the problem. But anyway, so now he's got COVID-19, and we're talking about what they're doing with 19 and Amari Cooper and Mike McCarthy 19 days after his birthday before the Saints. Again, this is a joke. COVID-19 after 9/11 and the 19 hijackers 19 years earlier. Remember, 9/11 Patriot Act, all of a sudden the New England Patriots are the greatest football team ever. The Aints are the Aints until they get a terrible hurricane that, you know, somehow the federal government just dropped the ball on, even though the CNN was covering how it was going to hit New Orleans for 2 weeks in advance, but somehow the president of the White House had no clue about any of this. And then next thing you know, the Saints are winning the Super Bowl over Archie Manning's son. They were the Aints when they were Archie Manning. Then his son grows up, and the Saints win their first Super Bowl over Peyton as he's lofting balls into the secondary of the Saints. Greatest Super Bowl quarterback of all time? I mean, give me a break, dude. Why don't they ask him on Monday night when he's doing his show with his brother if what's-his-face had a magnet in his helmet and some kind of special ball and why he was lofting balls to the Saints secondary? You know? I'd like to see how he handles those questions. I think Eli would say, finally. I was worried nobody else could see it. Eli always looked like he was depressed when he was on the field. And again, it's because I think they know what's going on, man. Kevin Green dead at 58 before the Monday night game with Pittsburgh. You know what I mean? Stuff is just sick, man. And isn't it funny? Just if you guys were watching this earlier, just the way that transgressed. When I saw the 58 and Mike McCarthy being 58 and his connection to Freemasonry and his brother dead at 47 and the history of the league and the Super Bowl and the Packers and the Cowboys chasing the Steelers. And then we go back and we go, oh, wait a minute. In the post where I did his dead brother, what I was talking about then, again, this is posted January 16, 2017. What I was talking about in that post was, this Super Bowl with 56 points, 31 points Steelers number. And, yeah, it's just over and over, man. Same stuff. 2 Jesuit-connected teams, the Packers and the Steelers. So we'll leave it there for now. I know the game's starting, but yeah, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for hitting the like. And until next time.